didn't like how it sinks and then stays, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it like responds to heat. So if you heat up the bed, then it gets softer, right? I didn't like the pillows for that reason. And I had a bed with springs, and I was like, I don't want a bed with springs. That would suck. Because you hear the springs after a while. It's just annoying. And I was thinking, I'm just going to get, I had the purple pillow, right, for a while.
The purple pillow.
Yeah, didn't you have
Which
that in
is just
college?
this material. No, not in college. I think after I moved back home. And then I had this like, because it's just a solid mat of this, right? It weighs like 15 pounds.
Right.
And I was like, I really like this. That took me a while to get used to as well, but I really like it. Like, why not just try the beds, right?
Yeah.
And so I tried the beds, and I was like, this is awesome, right? Or at least I like the theory, because it's just this, synthetic material, it springs moving, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't take any energy. Like, it takes way less effort to move on the bed than it does, like, if you have a memory foam, you know?
Yeah. You're not like crawling out of this quicksand to
Yeah.
get around.
It's
Dude, that's
also, like-
exactly what the memory foam feels like.
Yeah. I didn't want that. And this is super responsive. Like, and it's also like, because it has all these holes, right? It's always the same temperature. I'm never hot in my bed. It's like,
That's really nice.
I really liked it. I think it's great. It's firmer than most beds that I have used before, which took me longest to get used to. But after that, it was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got a slight, it's like a thin memory foam top, and then the rest is just standard mattress. And I like it. I sleep fairly well on it, but I don't know. For me, it's more about the comforter. That's my thing. I'll be honest, I just like
What do you mean?
wrap up myself in like a blanket, and I'm like good to go. It doesn't
Okay.
really matter.
Yeah, you're one of those people.
Yeah, I don't really sleep underneath, like under the sheets. Honestly, I just sleep on top of my bed, which sounds really weird, but
What? You're a psychopath, dude. Like, that's how that's how serial killers sleep.
no, I mummify myself, like wrap myself up in a really soft blanket. It's just nice and cuddly, and I'm like, all right. And especially like now when it's cold and shit, I'm like, I just want to like wrap myself up in this nice blanket and go to bed, and I sleep great.
Huh.
I open the covers, like the corner of my bed.
Yeah,
I get under, sit, I close that. I go to sleep. I wake up, repeat the
see,
process.
that's
in reverse,
exactly
and
how
get out.
that's how psychopaths
Zero-
sleep, man. That's how
Zero
psychopaths
disturbance.
sleep.
Zero disturbance. Yeah, you don't
Yep.
move at all. That's kind of
Nope.
interesting to me.
I do move. I do move, but
Wait,
I just
are you-
don't
are you
disturb
like
the
a-
bed too much.
Are you one of those people who like side sleep, or like they like move?
I'm a side sleeper, yeah, but I go back and forth.
Okay.
During
Flip-flop.
the course of the night.
Yeah,
I still don't get how side sleepers don't have their arms fall asleep. Not to like go really into this topic, but I've loved side
sometimes,
sleeping and the
but not
concept.
like permanently.
But like my hand always goes asleep whenever I'm on my side.
how do you
Always.
sleep? Do you sleep with like your
I don't
arm up?
put my arm above my head. I'm like I am laying on my arm. But it doesn't feel very comfortable for me to like lay like
Okay.
with my elbow above my head. For
Arms
me.
like straight out or down usually.
See, how do you do?
How did you? Okay, yes. See,
I feel like my whole
We've
arm
had this
would
exact
die.
same discussion before.
I know
Have we?
we have done this, and
Oh.
I don't know. It's a good discussion. Either
I'm a
way.
belly
I like
sleeper,
talking about
so
it.
like,
Yeah.
I usually roll over one
I
arm.
used to, and
So I'm
then I
like it's like
started
side
breaking my
belly.
neck.
Yeah,
I've always been that way.
Yeah, that's great.
I one thing I really wanted to tell you guys, whether or not this is actually in the podcast or not,
Sure.
is I started watching a new anime. Mm-hmm. I picked up, what's it called? I want to get the name right. It's called More Than a Married Couple, but Not Lovers.
I think
I've
I've
Have you
heard
seen
of this
that
one. Yeah.
thing?
I've heard of the
That's
title.
airing this season.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll give it a shot. It's like one of my favorite animes this season already.
Yeah.
Really?
It's like, let me describe to you this show because it's so
All right, try to sell it to us.
messed up,
Yeah.
right? I'm not trying to sell you on it. I'm just telling you about it. It's, I'm like, more than married couple, but not lovers. I didn't read the description at all. I'm like, I don't know what this is about. But how could you
How does that work?
get to that title, right?
Yeah.
In any form? And I thought, okay.
Sounds like an
check it
arranged
out.
marriage.
It's kind of, yeah.
Not far off. So here's the premise. I think they're what? Yeah, so they're seniors in high school, third year in high school. So whatever, last year of Japanese high school. And the high school does marriage class, which is they take
What?
all the boys and all the girls and they pair them up randomly and have them live in an apartment.
Live
right?
together. Wow.
Yeah. 2 separate rooms, but they live in an apartment.
Sounds expensive.
Okay. Does sound
Cameras
expensive.
in the apartment, and
Oh my
they grade
gosh.
them on how much of a couple they are.
Ew,
Sounds like a
that's
great
gross.
reality TV
It's
show.
Yeah.
so like the whole idea is disgusting and like
Yeah.
terrible.
Wait, there is a show
But I
like
love
this
this show.
though. So like in
It's
America,
called Big Brother.
yes, but also American reality TV. There's like Wife Swap. I think this is like an old
Wife
show.
swap.
I just remember this
something
because
like
there's a Chappelle Show episode. You guys have seen Chappelle Show, right?
Like an episode.
Yeah.
Seriously, you never seen Chappelle Show?
I've seen some of his stand-ups, but that's about it.
Yeah, I don't
Chappelle
like
Show,
watch it
You're missing out, man.
religiously or anything.
I saw it when I was like 8, and it probably not a little too early for me to watch the Chappelle Show, but it was
Yeah.
great regardless. But yeah, Chappelle Show. They swap wives, like
Yeah.
one couple. All right, wife goes to the new house, and then that sounds exactly like wife swap.
So this is basically reality TV. But
Yeah.
now, see, the thing is, right? So they're paired up randomly, and they gotta, this counts towards graduation, right? so
They have to do it.
But the thing is, it's a whole love triangle, right? Or love square. So the main dude, he's in love with his childhood friend, right? And she is also in love with him, but they can't communicate that.
Yeah.
Keep misunderstanding, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's also like the school pretty boy, right? Who is seemingly perfect in every way. And the class, how do you say the word? Gairu?
Gyaru?
Class president?
Gairu, yeah. The class Gairu, who's like, basically the top one in the school, let's say.
Okay.
She likes him, the class guy. But our main character gets paired up with the
Gyaru.
Gairu, Yaru, and they, if you get a high enough grade, right? So there's this whole monthly ranking thing, right? So if you are both A rank in your marriage, then you can switch partners.
Whoa.
So their goal is, okay, we want to get top rank to switch partners to people who we actually want to be with, right?
Yeah.
And the childhood friend was paired up with the pretty boy, right?
Yeah.
So it's perfect, right?
It's a square thing, yeah.
Do
yeah.
better, swap. But then, of course, events ensue, and the girl ends up starting to like the guy who's trying to go for that girl. But then it's like it's like
It's
a
Toradora.
classic romantic comedy. Love this show. It's awesome.
You've seen Toradora before, right?
I've not seen that one, no.
Okay, that's kind of the concept of Toradora. But I'm gonna say this, make it controversial, but Toradora is probably better. It's honestly one of my favorites. It's so good.
I mean, it's more known, definitely.
It's because it's
This
really
one
good.
though, also, this one fan service on point. Gotta say,
Okay.
it's just
good
it's
to
a
go.
good show. It's on episode 8, and I've seen like the first 6, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Gotta
what's
keep
gonna
going.
happen
Gotta keep
next?
going. Is it spicy? Is it spicy in the way Domestic Girlfriend was
It's-
kind of spicy?
Yeah, I would say so.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not. It does. So far, they don't go as far as in Domestic Girlfriend,
Yeah.
but it's come pretty close at times. And the weird,
Very good.
but the whole scenario is just so messed up because every time I'm like, oh wow, that's a spicy moment. I'm thinking, well, the school's recording this.
Yeah.
Like, what is
The
happening?
school
right
is
now?
instigating this whole
that's
thing.
that's really creepy though.
Yeah. I mean, that's like dystopian. The population is way too far gone.
No,
we need to do
I
something.
hate the premise of the show, right? But the content,
the content.
I
of the
really
show
like
is
it.
The
good.
content's 100% worth it.
yeah, I decided to tell you guys about that because I'm just a sucker for these like romantic comedy type things, situations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're so funny. And it's like, this is peak entertainment.
I could get on the bandwagon for that show. I've been sold.
All right.
Maybe
I'll just
watch like the first 2 episodes and you'll get it.
All right. That's sick. Yeah.
Now, the show that has sold me this season is the Eminence in Shadow because it's so freaking ridiculous. I think we've mentioned this a little bit on the podcast, but now it's really gotten into it. Is Eminence in Shadow so freaking funny? Like, I gotta say, originally I thought it was going to take itself way too seriously. I'm so glad it doesn't, and that makes the show better for it, right? Because you have like just like Chinibu, I want to be like the strongest ever kind of classic, very and Isekai, kind of his own damn fault. And well, first off, that first episode, Sean, you've seen it, like totally throws you off, and you're like,
I watched the first episode recently, and I was like I was confused. Does he die? Does he? I guess minor spoilers.
He dies.
So he goes through, kills all the thugs, and then gets run over by a car the next day.
He kind of just jumps in front of a car, honestly.
So I've started reading the light novel, right?
Really?
So I have a little bit more of a background, but I think the show did a good job of capturing it.
Yeah.
This guy's just an insane person who's also an idiot. Like,
yeah, he's somehow brilliant too. Like he's very dedicated, right? I appreciate the dedication, but yes, he's kind of an idiot.
Like the whole thing in the beginning, right? He was in the forest, right?
Yeah.
Training, because that's what he does. Like, I gotta train my mind and body and soul.
Yeah.
And then he in real life, he thinks, okay, the only way I can achieve what I'm trying to achieve is by getting magic. How do I do that?
How do I start a nuclear bomb to the face? Magic.
Well, how do I do all these things? So he starts going to all these different, Sixth Sense people, religious stuff, anything he can do to try and achieve magic, right? And then he's in the forest banging his head against a tree, and then essentially gives himself like a concussion, and then he's delirious, sees the lights, and he's like, "This is it. This is the magic time," and then runs from a car and dies. And that's like how he gets isekai'd.
Okay.
The guy's a moron,
that
right?
Is like,
not a moron. He's insane, right?
Yeah.
But that's how he's progressing. It's so crazy.
It is.
I love this show.
It's really enjoyable to watch, honestly. Like, and I don't really like isekai, and like especially the type where, like, power fantasy can be fun as long as you have like a good obstacle, right? I want the challenge, right? But this is like, it's so ridiculous that it's great. It's so much fun.
It plays on itself. Right?
Yeah, and honestly, his real superpower is just like making shit up and it somehow being real. Like, that's the real superpower he's got.
He hit the nail on the head somehow.
Yep.
And Colton will get that in the second episode.
Dude, second episode, I've nailed my performance. It
definitely sets it all up.
This is my time.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. I love it.
It's one of those things that you just facepalm the whole time, but then it's really cool, right?
Yeah, it ends up working out. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen so episode 9 I haven't seen yet, but I remember I was reading. I got to the episode 8, and then I started the light novel, and then I just read past where that happens. Mm-hmm. So now I'm during the first light novel, which I've now finished. I'm past where the show is. So the show is probably only going to go to like the end of the light novel, of the first light novel.
How many are there? Like 3 right now?
There's 4 out right now.
Okay.
And then it's not a very long light novel. I was kind of annoyed because in the beginning I was reading the book and I thought, this is just terrible. This is not good writing because it's written in a very weird way. It's written as stream of consciousness from his perspective.
Well, from what you told me, that's just absolutely insanity.
It's very, very weird. Yeah. And I didn't understand. But then it transitioned.
Okay.
Then it actually opened up into a normal way of storytelling, and I thought, okay, now I can get behind this.
Interesting.
I think they did that to establish how insane this guy is.
Yeah, you're like, this is uncomfortable to read. I can't. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through this.
Yeah.
He's not meant to relate to. He's just meant to just observe watch
Yeah,
and join
yeah.
the chaos.
You're not trying.
Yeah,
We're not trying to project onto him here. He's he
I
can
mean,
be
there's
his own
definitely
guy.
yeah. There's
But
definitely
there's
some
definitely
projection.
scenes that the anime did really, really well, or took liberties with that made it really, really well. Like other characters' perspectives, right, that you don't see in the light novel.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Is in the anime, and I think they did such a good job with it. So,
Do you have an example without spoiling anything too much? I'm caught up.
I mean, not really. At least not without spoiling things, like the girl in the when she was kidnapped.
Oh yeah.
Like that. Most of those scenes were not in the book.
Interesting. Okay.
Just like one of the scenes was, but I think showing what they showed in the anime made it way more intense than the light novel portrayed it as.
Yeah. Cool.
So
It's kind of sick.
it's good. I like getting both perspectives too.
Yeah, Colton. If you have any spare time, I'd check it out. It's ridiculous
it'll
popcorn
be
fun.
It'll be one of those shows that I like. I got Chainsaw Man kind of watching every Tuesday. I might add this one onto it like every Thursday. I don't know, like just as a show to
Are you
watch
caught up with
before bed.
Chainsaw Man?
I
I
didn't
gotta
watch.
say though, with
Oh, sorry.
Chainsaw Man,
I didn't watch the most recent one, but I don't. Yeah, I didn't. I just didn't see the most recent one. It came out this Tuesday.
Chainsaw Man is not a show that I'm like looking forward to watching every week.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it, but not. It's just not very. It doesn't grab me. Very much.
I don't get the hype as much. It's like good, but I'm not seeing like some of these comedic shows and other off the wall stuff. I feel like holds my attention better than Chainsaw Man. I don't know. Maybe it gets better, and that's what people are waiting for.
And very well could, so I'm going to keep watching it.
Right now, it's just like this bratty kid. He's somehow getting all the girls. I don't quite understand it.
I don't know if he's
Alcohol.
getting
That's the-
anybody.
that-
you know,
yeah.
Well, he's
Alcohol's
he's-
involved.
He's not getting. I guess he's not getting them. I suppose, but he is just kind of doing his thing. There are some intense moments, and he's just kind of living his life,
it's
ripping
just a
people
lot of like
apart.
blood and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know. I think it just is a fresh coat of paint to kind of the shonen seinen formula that hasn't, after Attack on Titan, you've got like the classics, right? Attack on Titan, I think, is the most recent seinen show I can think of that really has grasped attention. I feel like Chainsaw Man is trying to like do that, right, for like the next generation.
I can see it.
Because Attack on Titan's ending, it's going to, we'll see where it goes.
it's ending very soon. We're gonna be watching that in a month, I think. isn't it?
Jeez, you're right.
Q1
I'm so
2023.
excited.
I am
Yeah.
excited. Yeah, it's
So-
funny. Like
We got to get Zach in to watch it.
Oh,
with
we
us,
do
because
actually.
he's all caught up as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
we
he is?
do.
Yeah,
He's caught up.
yes.
Yeah.
yeah. It's funny you say that. Like half my IT team as well. They'll watch Attack
Yeah.
on Titan. It's
That's
great.
funny.
So we're like talking
Yeah.
about this, and yeah,
it's gonna be good.
it's so much fun. But yeah, I'm so excited for it. But I didn't feel like Chainsaw Man's trying to capture that, right? A little bit more dynamic, less formulaic than your classic shonen. Although
It's true.
I feel
Not
like it also
formulaic.
it's in the middle, right? Because it's gory enough and dynamic enough. I guess maybe dynamic's not the most descriptive word, but where it goes against the grain in certain regards compared to like your classic shonen type. That falls in more of that seinen category, but at the same time, it has like the same shonen like story arc, right? Like they set up here's like the end goal pretty early on, and let's build to the end goal, build up the main character's powers and stuff like that, right? Which I feel is pretty classic shonen, and it rides the line pretty well. But you're right. I'm not as excited about it compared to some other shows. Honestly, I'm more excited about Eminence in Shadow because it's kind of ridiculous. Whereas Chainsaw Man is like, all right, it's enjoyable to watch, and I'll spend my Tuesday night, watching the 25-minute episode or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not overly hyped about it. Although I do gotta say, Best Girl Himeno, I like her, even though she pukes.
Always got to throw the best girl in there.
Yeah,
I don't know what you see. in
I
this
don't
person.
know.
she's
All right.
tomboyish. It's my
but,
type,
like,
man.
She's abusive.
She's weird.
She's not
She's like,
abusive. She's weird. She's definitely a little unhinged. But,
yeah.
yeah. Also,
Also
yeah,
bangs a 16-year-old. Kind of odd.
she doesn't bang him.
Kind of.
Well, okay. I
She
guess
makes out with him though. That's
I
definitely
didn't
for
see.
sure.
I didn't see the next episode. At the end of the episode, she's like, "Yo, let's do it." She's like, let's do it. I'm like, okay, that's illegal, but
It's like, okay, it's illegal. But I mean,
Yeah.
if you're a
Okay,
16-year-old and someone like that was I mean, I'll
No,
freely admit,
after
I would
the
hit
experience you just went through, heck no.
yeah,
yeah, but
actually.
she's a
So-
tomboyish with the.
Listen, Michael,
Mike would
your
not care.
opinion is wrong. Accept it.
Mike's like, I would take the puke kiss, and you know what? We'd forget
Yeah.
about it. We could forget about. We could pass that.
The show I think I want to try watching with you guys, because I know almost nothing about it, and I think it'd be really funny to watch at least a couple episodes, is Akiba Maid War.
Yeah, that's the one where they go
I
nuts.
think I've
The
seen a
maids
couple
are-
clips of it. Yeah,
Because I've seen it like a clip or two, and I'm like, what is going on? So I kind of want to watch it and see what happens.
Yeah, I'd like to do that too. I've
all
heard.
right, yeah.
I've seen the clips, the scenes, and it's like,
Yeah,
It's
Why
just,
is there-
just
I
as
gotta know what
ridiculous.
happens.
why is there so much blood in this show?
It'll be an adventure. Mm-hmm. I don't know where I am gonna bring this in, but I might as well intro
Yeah,
the show
yeah,
now.
yeah, for sure. I was thinking the
so-
same thing.
Welcome to Almost Podcast. This is episode 58.
Wow.
I am your host,
Wow.
Sean, for this week
John.
with what?
No, I'm sorry. I'm ruining your intro. I'm ruining your
When
intro.
has our intro ever been spotless? Let's be
It's
real.
plenty of times it's been spotless.
I'm joined
Bro.
by Michael and Colton,
So
the two lads.
Hey,
And I don't know. We're going through our anime recap essentially.
yeah, it's been a while since we
For
talked
those-
about anime, so it's good,
I
it's good
saw-
to get back to it.
I saw I got an email. I don't know if this is real. I'll be honest. Don't know if it's real, but someone emailed us to the podcast email.
Oh, really?
And,
oh, okay.
And it said we're in the top 200 on Apple Podcasts for the anime and manga category.
What?
And I was like, I don't know if that's true, but I'll take it.
yeah,
Wait, who emailed you about this? Like some person you know, or like Apple?
No, it seemed like some sort of
like, hey, you're doing good, champ.
yeah.
From Apple
know where
Podcasts.
Pat on the back.
someone from podstatus.com. Again, don't know if it's real, but hey, I'll take it.
That's
I'm
kind of
gonna
interesting.
pretend like we are.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'll
it,
take
it
that.
boosts my confidence.
I'll definitely be telling people we're like top 200 anime.
I will not be
podcasts.
I'm not responding to this email at all, but I'll take the information.
Hey man, you
Did
grain
they
of
ask
salt.
for a credit card number and the 3 digits from the back?
Funny enough, they were a Nigerian prince actually. They
they're asking for help.
Oh, that's great. Have you guys ever dealt with anything like that?
actually didn't ask for anything. They said, "Here's information,"
Like-
and they said it's provided by us, and that was it. They didn't even ask to say, "Hey, you should subscribe."
Top.
Cool.
Interesting.
Very weird, but hey,
Hey man, I'm now gonna start gloating about that to other people.
Yeah, right.
Gloating.
Put it on your resume,
Top
put it on your
200 anime
Insta.
podcast. I think it's been like 7 episodes since we've actually really talked about anime, but
Yeah,
you know,
it has been a while.
I'll take it. Wow, what an achievement! Now we got to become top 100, not top 200. Next goal.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, top 50. Let's
Top
do it.
50
that.
anime
Yeah, we can do
podcasts.
that.
How many anime podcasts are there? It's got to be no
I
more
would-
than 200.
I honestly, I
We're
feel like
literally
there's the opposite.
lowest.
I feel like there would be a crap ton of anime podcasts.
You
Like,
think so?
I actually think there'd be a ton, just because I don't know. Anime is such a nerdy thing, kind of, and I feel like a lot of small groups like us like to talk about anime, and
Yeah.
it would be a really easy way to start a podcast is to just do an
I'll
anime
tell you
podcast.
what, there are so many D&D podcasts now. Way too many.
I don't even know. I'm not even in that sphere, and I know there's like a crap ton of anime podcasts.
Yeah, I think
Or,
because
sorry,
I've listened to
D&D.
3 now, it like recommends me a bunch,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and there's so many.
Really?
So many that just seem not interesting at all.
Are they like to the quality of Critical Role?
The other two that I've listened to are quality audio. And the stories have been funny and interesting, but nothing like as long spanning or reaching or like it's just they just do it podcast format. They don't stream it and have the everything in front of them and everything and
Yeah.
all that. That Critical Role does.
They
So,
don't have like all the visual aids for us ADHD people.
Yeah, it's just I think just a podcast. So, just for the story, I should say. Which I only listen to them anyway, so it's the same experience for me. But I've heard like ads for other ones, and I'm like, these sound terrible, or just not interesting to me. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I listened to one that was specifically for the other two I listened to are called Dungeons and Daddies.
Whoa, that
And-
sounds
That sounds a little
very- yeah,
BDSM.
that's
Their
like that.
their tagline is not a BDSM podcast.
It's like we swear we just
Fucking
named
love
it
that.
badly, and now
No,
we're
no,
too far
they
in.
named it perfectly. Are you kidding? Like that's
Yeah.
yeah.
And it
Perfect
is
marketing.
about these 4 dads who were taking their kids to soccer practice one day in a van, and then all of us, and they get isekai'd, essentially. They go to like the D&D land. And it's
so weird.
it's these guys role playing dads, and it's hilarious.
Oh, I can imagine.
it
Uh,
is-
how okay quality of the dad jokes like out of 10.
Oh, they
bet
actually
they're there.
roll damage when someone makes a dad joke
Seriously?
on each other.
That's awesome. Okay,
I
I
feel like
I
it's
think I
kind of
gotta
OP
watch
though.
this.
Yeah.
It's funny. So the reason I started watching it is because one of the guys on who plays one of the characters is Freddie W. From I don't know if you know
Like
him,
Rocket
Freddie
Jump?
Wong.
Yeah.
Rocket Jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard him in some other media say he was doing that. I'll check it out. Very funny. I think it's great. And then the other one I just started watching or listening to recently is a Pokemon D&D podcast, which is pretty funny,
Yeah.
honestly.
Did you even play Pokemon as a kid?
As a kid, yeah, like a couple games.
Like the
But
card
that was
games or
about
just
it.
the Game Boy like type?
The Game Boy, yeah.
Did,
I also
Colton, did
collected
you?
cards for a bit and didn't know how to play the game, but then that was
Same.
it.
Yeah.
Dude,
every
same.
kid had that. Every kid did that for a little bit.
Every guy, I remember because a friend of mine could collected the cards. He also did Yu-Gi-Oh too, but I actually knew how to play. And I'm like, sure, I'll try playing, and like obviously got stomped. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this
You're
is
like,
actually a card game, and not like I just collect the shit. Honestly,
the
I should
energy?
go. I should go because I bet my mom still has like the collection of cards that I had, and I bet there's a couple in there that are worth something. I know I had a Blue Eyes
I
White
definitely
Dragon.
threw all mine away.
Oh really? That sucks.
Yeah, all the
'Cause I know-
Pokemon stuff.
I know there's
no,
like
it doesn't.
a-
I don't care at all about them.
There's probably money to be made.
It's kind of cool. There's like money.
No, there's no money in Pokemon cards.
I had a
I-
Blue Eyes White Dragon for Yu-Gi-Oh. I remember that. That's about it.
I think everybody has one though. That's the
That's
thing.
probably
They, at
true.
least
Yeah.
they had one. Yeah, I remember I used to buy like pirated cards, where like
See, there you go.
you'd open them and it's just like all Egyptian god cards in there, and I'm like, oh, this
Heck
is
yeah.
awesome. This is great. Except they're pretty fake. I
You go
don't
to
think.
school and you're like, look what I got.
You're like, guys, I'll give you this for like your stupid card that I know is real, but
Yeah, right.
it's the Egyptian god card.
And it's like peeling on the edges.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
offset. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. There's one character who plays like an idiot on the podcast. Hilarious. So good. He's just naturally good at stuff, but he's an idiot.
That's great.
He's an
It's
idiot.
hard to role play an idiot. Honestly, like, Critical Role, right? The original was it Grog?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, who's that?
That guy will make a decision that hurts himself just to play the right character.
Exactly. Yeah. It's honestly it's impressive. Like for me, I don't know if I could do that. Like when I RP, I will like role play a decent amount. Like I don't really play D&D, but like if I'm playing like a game like Skyrim or like MMO South, sometimes I'll RP and I'll like try to make decisions, but I'll still make tactically advantageous decisions. Usually, no matter what, unless
Yeah.
it's like but like my kit will always be in a certain thing. Like oh, I'm playing an old hunter who, was used to be an old warrior, but now it just lives off the land, right? In like for Skyrim or something like that, right? So I'm all like, archer, and then if I get in close combat, I whip out my two-handed greatsword or whatever. But I can only imagine that it's got to be like next level doing that.
I imagine that if I set out to play that character, I could play an idiot.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I'll leave that up to the interpretation of the viewer. But I think I'd have fun causing chaos.
Yeah, because then you
absolutely.
can like hurt others and pretend that you didn't know that would happen the whole time. Be like, oh,
Yeah.
man, we're all going down now.
Because there's a certain amount of metagaming, right? You hear what's happening to other people, even if you're not in the room, right?
Yeah.
But I walk in and I'm like, well, I didn't know that happened. What would
Yeah,
I do?
that would be the
And then
hardest
I
thing.
just,
That'd be the
stab
hardest
somebody.
thing for me. Like this is kind of a spoilers for the next 20 seconds for Critical
Of?
Role is
Which, where, when?
first season. Don't worry.
Okay, first
is
campaign.
Grog with the deck of many things. Like that was a great moment, right? And you're like, which deck of many things,
Right.
Colton?
Obviously, the actor knows that these cards could literally destroy the world.
Actually, I don't
but
think
the character.
Travis didn't, but everyone else was telling him, "Don't fucking do it," and he's like, "I'm gonna do it anyway because
It's like we're gonna go
right, because
for
the
it.
character would.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly."
Yeah.
And these are cards that could destroy the world, like legitimately, like basically screw over the entire campaign. Everyone's sent into like the void, or you get like a special item. It's like a, roll
It's
of
like
dice.
It's just a
dangerous
huge
odds.
gamble.
Yeah. I need to get
I think at one point, like he sort of learned how the cards worked, and then he had somebody else pull a card. He's like, "You want to pull a card?"
oh man.
pull my finger, except it's a card.
Yeah.
And it was
funny.
luckily a good one, but
Yeah.
Huh. Do you
not for Grog.
do you guys don't play D&D with any groups, do
Nah.
you?
No.
I'm actually in a scenario where I'm surprised I don't. I would definitely play D&D if there was a group. I know nothing about it though, and like I just don't like.
I think I would if it was the right group, and I think
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing to find.
Is it?
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like I
And the
remember,
right DM.
Yeah,
You know?
I remember when this was back in school when I was working at my the IT at Michigan State, and they actually a couple of my coworkers, they were big Warhammer and D&D fans, and they're like, "Oh, dude, you can just like join these Discord servers where they have like automated systems.
Yeah.
right? Like a half of it's auto, like an auto
Kind of weird.
DM where you can like
Yeah,
put in what you
yeah.
want to do, right? It'll auto roll and everything like that. So I mean, that's not a bad option. I never pulled the trigger on it because I was like, D&D at the time, right? Because
You'd have to have an actual DM though. Like
Yeah.
an auto that doesn't make sense. You know?
well, I mean, you can. I mean, there's D&D bots out there, right, where you can do an auto DM, but it's not the same as having like you don't get the same chaos and fun and
or the same descriptions, right?
Yeah.
Or the same like imagination that someone would have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
To
true.
respond to a scenario.
But I think the issue, at least I have, is like it's a weird set of like expectations, right? Because in a way, I'm expecting, like, if I go do a D&D game, I'm expecting Matt Mercer in a way, even though
Oh,
literally
the
like
expectations
no
are
one.
way up there.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you're expecting like you're like, oh, I'm going on a date and I'm expecting a 10. And
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So it's
I think that's interesting for me listening to these other podcasts because their DMs obviously not Matt Mercer, so
yeah.
their voices are much more limited. It's still funny, and able to guide the campaign, but it's different. So that's kind of interesting. In that it's been my worldview has been expanded in
Yeah.
terms of what a DM could be.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe I should do that because I do think it'd be a lot of fun. I'd love to be able to RP a character. And
Dungeons and Daddies is really funny. You
I
should
have
listen to
some.
that.
I love build crafting, and that's actually the part of D&D I would like. Like I've downloaded the D&D Beyond app and used that to like set up build crafting and stuff like that. I haven't bought any of like the specific like sections. I just had the default stuff, and it's a lot of fun. Like I like I'm going to build up to like level like 15 or something like that, level 20. With all these characters and like I'll play it.
That's weird if you've never even played the game, right? Like that's
because it's all math,
that's odd.
it's all mechanics, man. That's all it is, right? To me, I see it as I'm optimizing. Like you're Sean, you know me. I'm a min maxer, right? I'm like, okay,
I know.
How do I optimize this shit? And so to me, that is what it's about. It's like, even though I only have limited stuff because I'm not even playing
But
with
do
all the
you
resources.
intend to play D&D with these characters?
If they're in my idea sheet. If I did end up like running into a D&D campaign that I got into,
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, I'll play this character. My old work, they had a thing, and if this had happened during that time, I would have probably done it. But yeah, I would, I have a couple of character ideas.
Interesting.
Some of them are really cheesy, and some of them are a lot of fun, and like I put a lot of effort and backstory into them, and it's actually really fun just designing that, right? But I don't know. I'd
So
recommend it,
you-
honestly. Just download that app and test it out and try to create a character. Now I'm going off point buy system versus the rolls, because if you do random rolls, right, you kind of don't have a choice on what you pick, because if random rolls, you're kind of like, all right, I need to optimize.
Yeah, you can't min max it that way because it's
Exactly.
It's like how you should
Well,
actually do it.
I can min max, but in a certain way versus min maxing through point buy system. So
Huh. Yeah, I you guys are saying this, and I don't even know. I'm like,
exactly.
do all
I
the
barely
stats,
know what Michael's talking
do all
about.
the stats translate? Do
So
different games have different mechanics?
In D&D,
There's so much.
When you create a character, there's a couple options. You can point buy, which meaning you have you start out, I think, with a base of 8 points in each character or each like stat, and then
Like an attribute
Have you played?
system?
Yeah, like an attribute. Yeah. Have you played
Yeah.
like Fallout or anything like that where you can add stats? to
Yeah,
things?
yeah. Like recently, I'm playing Cyberpunk, and I'm thinking that it's like you have points.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
and you
and so
assign
you
it.
have a set amount of points to add your attributes to create your starting character. So it's like,
Yeah.
I want to have high strength, so I'm going to go for like a fighter or barbarian, or high charisma, so that's a warlock or a sorcerer or something like that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And that kind of alludes to what character you're trying to develop, right? I multi-class because there's too much optimization with that, but I know we're getting really deep, but the other way is there's one more way, but you also have random rolls, which is you literally just roll the dice, you pick what you've got, like the stat you have, and you just roll
Okay.
with it. You really don't get a choice.
I see.
and-
You just-
yeah. So it basically forces you to pick a certain character archetype, because some may be locked. Say you don't have 13 strength to wear heavy armor, or so you can't really do a paladin or like a fighter. So like, I got rolled really high wisdom, so okay, I'll do a druid or a monk or maybe. So but
Okay.
it's a
Gotcha.
different way, or cleric.
Huh. Yeah, this is like really complicated. I don't know how you must have to have like spreadsheets or like notebooks around to like mark stuff up
Maybe.
as you go. I don't know.
Shut up,
That's
Sean.
too much
why,
for me. That's
no,
kinda why I
Sean,
just
why,
don't
why are
do
you
it.
not even, you're the one who does the most spreadsheets out of all of us. You're
What are you
the
talking about?
You're the one, whenever we do a trip, you're like, okay, I'm creating the spreadsheet, I'm designing this, let's, list all this stuff out.
The difference is that's for a practical purpose.
And I'm doing it for fun. I know, it's ridiculous.
I have never made a spreadsheet for a game ever.
It's just
I have, unfortunately,
Because
Life is a
made
game.
that's the
multiple.
point when it becomes work, and I don't want to do that.
You can't make spreadsheets for fun.
No.
life is a game. That's all. That's
I
all we got
can't.
to do.
Like if I'm trying to do a practical purpose, like figure out how much my gas is going to cost me, right? That's I make a spreadsheet for that because it does math for me, and I suck at math, right? But if I didn't have a reason to do that, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, I do some of that.
But that's just me,
There's also a couple.
there's tons of.
There's a couple of
spreadsheets for-
YouTubers too online who follow the same like characters. The one I'll mention is D4, D&D character deep dive, and the dude just does extreme math, like beyond what I would do personally. Like I'd do like min max on some things. He like min maxes a lot of shit, and it's really fun, especially just on random character builds. And to me, again, the best part of most games is the build crafting, is optimizing a character set to do one thing, right?
Yeah, that guy sounds like he's just like trying to make an algorithm out of something. He's like, what can I just like make a math problem?
Yeah.
out
I don't
of?
actually know what he
And-
does for a living, but no, he explains shit really well. I honestly look it up and just like look up some of his craziest builds, and it's really fun.
Sick.
That's just the exact opposite of how I play things, but that's why there's different perspectives.
Yeah, I'd be bad. I'd be like just picking random attributes. If I was a dungeon master, I wouldn't even know what to do.
Cole,
You
you
control the
would
whole
be
thing.
so much fun as Dungeon Master though, because you would
But
troll
like,
the fuck out of
I'd be
everyone.
worried about like, oh, so I'm gonna fireball
because
this
but
monster.
he would also have to know everything.
Yeah, I was
be
gonna
able to do
say
that.
That's
'cause,
true,
Like,
yeah.
I feel
The
like
hardest
I
role to play.
panic. I'd be like, the fireball. He just ate it, and now he's like twice as powerful. And I'm like, is that normal? Is that not normal? I don't know if I'm like
Yeah.
really screwing my team up here
yeah,
or not. But
because you have to find balance. But I feel like you're the type
Yeah.
of DM who's like, screw balance. I'm just gonna fuck with these people.
But then that's not a fun game, for the players.
Just every
Yeah.
boss battle, if you lose, the world ends. It's like if you die, everyone.
It's
the
so
whole world
funny
ends.
too because my dad, right? He, like, surprisingly, my dad, you would never peg him for a D&D player, but he actually used to play the OG D&D, right? When it, first came out back in the 80s, right? He and his friend group.
Back
and
when it was witchcraft to play it.
exactly
Yeah.
right. When it's
Yeah.
literally like, oh, you're
The Satan's
yeah.
game.
Yeah, which like he always actually like says, dude, I'm actually really glad to playing it because it teaches you how to storytell. And one thing I really admire my
Yeah.
dad for is being a really good storyteller. That's why I look up to him. One of the things I look up to
believe
him
it.
for. And he knows how to do it. He never DM'd. He was always a ranger. And then he and his friend group. I'm trying to think. One of his friends was always the DM. One was a paladin. One was a fighter, I think. And then he was always the ranger,
It's a-
the half elf
Just a
ranger.
Wow.
classic combination.
Yeah, an OG party.
Yeah, but just like telling
Sick.
stories. I think that's the most fun about it is you just get to create your own story in a way that you can't do with video games, right? I've tried to like find video games like you have the Baldur's Gate series, which is based on
Yeah.
D&D. And you have
Yeah,
Baldur's
yeah,
Gate,
yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, I think, is the one that's coming out or that's in early access right now. That's about like it's set in a D&D world with the D&D mechanics, and I'm like, oh, this seems interesting, but the issue with it is you don't get the depth and you don't get the crazy stories because it's kind of you have limitations with video games, whereas with D&D,
Yeah.
you kind of don't. You can create whatever the fuck you want. You can homebrew whatever the fuck you want. And roll
Yeah,
with it.
it's up to your imagination. And I mean, if you're making a game, I mean, there's limitations there too. I know the game that I really like, I've talked about before, Divinity Original Sin 2 is like a kind of like
same people who made Divinity are making Baldur's
are making
Gate 3.
boulders. Okay, so they're like
Interesting.
that's a recurring thing, but
Yeah.
there's like D&D mods for the game. I've never really understood it, but you can kind of do this one little scenario of your own little story, and that's really cool. But you're right, it's not like fully up to the imagination. You're constrained inherently by the game.
Yeah.
But
I think personally, the reason why I don't like or I wouldn't play D&D or not that I wouldn't, but wouldn't
you're not seeking
search it out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is I just don't care to create. I just want to consume. I don't. That's why I listen to the like a couple of the podcasts because I'd rather listen to someone else play it than have to sit through and do it myself. Right.
Really?
It's just so I don't know. I think that's with a lot of stuff. It's like I'd just rather watch it or listen to it or read it. I'm not gonna write a book.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make a TV show. It's just I don't want to create that much.
Which I find
Yeah.
so funny because I get that, but I do it because like I like consuming stuff, but it's like in clips, right? And you watch the entire thing in like this, or you listen to like the thing in chunks, right? Like the whole story. Like I'm like I'll listen to a clip of this or watch a clip of something like that, but am I going to sit and like watch or listen to a 4-hour stream of D&D? Probably not. I'll take the highlight reel of it. And I find that you're like, oh, I want to consume it, yet don't go for these highlight reels. You want to consume every single like moment of it. I find that.
Well, I'd watch the highlight reel after I've watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I find it so funny.
It's just there's no. I mean, I will like on some of the streams, right? If I'm ever watching a VTuber stuff, most of the time I'll watch just like a funny clip from that. But then sometimes I will watch the full stream. But that's kind of the only media I do that with. Everything else I would never do that with.
Yeah.
It's like to me, it's like I read books. I wouldn't just read a chapter of a book or like or someone says, "Oh, this is a really good chapter. This is a really good sentence." Like, nah, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, this is a really good moment. You have to read all the context. You need all the context
Yeah.
surrounding it. Okay, I see.
Yeah, that's how my brain phrases it. I know. So this is gonna be an extreme departure from what we were talking. Well, maybe not super extreme, but I feel this is topical. So I want to talk about something topical because we don't usually talk about news and such.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
okay.
don't.
We're talking
But
about.
I'm very curious to see what you guys think, because I just find the whole situation fascinating, and that's what is going on with Twitter.
I knew it. I fucking knew it. Yeah.
Twitter. So,
it's so
yeah.
much fascinating.
So Colton, do you know what's going on at all?
I
Or,
mean,
you
I
sounded
just
like
it's devolving. So I know of some good tweets, devolving stuff. Things I get like a little Reddit
think-
article thing every couple
Yeah.
days. Something new pops
Yeah.
up. You know.
I think for anyone who's living under a rock,
For all you idiots out there,
Elon
this
Musk bought Twitter. He was forced to buy Twitter
Essentially.
after
saying he
after-
would.
yeah.
For $44 billion.
and-
And he had to take a loan
and-
for it. Remember that.
And then once he assumed control over Twitter, he started making changes, and
And laying
Twitter
people
is
off.
seemingly imploding. But that's up for debate as well. And yeah, I mean that's just kind of the whole thing in a gist. But like I think the whole thing is crazy. I think that so I'm in IT. Michael's in IT. So we definitely have a perspective on
The technical
what it's
side of
kind
things.
of like at
Yeah.
a tech company and,
Yeah.
and the technical side.
Yeah.
And I'm viewing mainly through that lens of that this app can't survive another several months, I don't think.
That's
With
what
all the
everyone
changes
keeps
that are
saying.
being made.
Everyone keeps saying that, but like, I feel like it's got to be a slower burn than that.
I
if
think
they're gonna
Twitter is
fail.
too big to fail, frankly.
You do? You think they're
I
past that
do
level?
I do think
You think they're too big to fail, but they have like 30% of the people that they had.
Yeah, I don't know if they're
Originally.
too big to fail, but I do think it's going to be
Yeah.
more strung out than just a few months.
yeah. Frankly, like I'll
All it takes is a single Patch Tuesday update to go through, and it kills the entire system.
yes, that's very
You
true.
know that can
Patch,
happen.
what
Yeah.
does that? Wait, what does that mean? Patch Tuesday.
The second Tuesday of every month, Microsoft releases patches for all their systems.
Yep.
This can cause problems, and they
It
do
always
sometimes.
does.
So if the person, let's say, who manage those patches, let's say they're automated patches that go out,
Yeah.
which doesn't have to happen, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
But let's say several of those servers get patched with these updates, and the person who manages that was fired. Things would
You're
go
done.
out.
You're done.
It would crash the system. It's simple,
Okay.
And if you're competent, you wouldn't have set up the server to be like that. You would have a manual approval process, but who knows? That's just one thing that could go wrong.
And also just I feel like the decisions being made are like in the really short term, right? I like Elon, frankly, but I feel that he made a huge mistake on making changes early. Obviously, we're talking this has been within the last month or so, right? Actually, almost exactly.
Yeah.
October 31st is when he officially bought Twitter.
It feels like it's
When,
been longer.
when
I'm
he
not gonna
walked
lie.
in with a sync, right? It really, I feel like it's actually been shorter.
I think there's been so much happening with it. It just feels
Yeah.
like it's not. It's
It
been
was
more than a month.
talking. They were talking about it for a long
They
time. and then when he
were.
actually did assume
Yeah.
ownership was a month ago.
First
Yeah.
off, the biggest gig chads out of all of this are the two guys that I know of are the guys who faked being fired Twitter employees to the news
Oh, yeah,
media.
that was really funny.
That was hilarious. Like, congratulations
that.
to those guys.
Oh,
They're
I gotta
hilarious.
watch that.
One guy his last name was quote unquote Ligma. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I saw this. I didn't know. I
This-
thought.
yeah.
Oh, I
Props-
thought there was.
props to
the,
those
the
two
news
just
does
fucking-
zero vetting sometimes. Just like, no, we're gonna show it.
Props to those two
No
guys.
critical thinking.
Just having fun because that sounds so much fun.
From the outside looking in, some of the decisions that are being made just sound ridiculous. Now, I'm sure there is some logic to it, but I can't understand the logic.
Uh-huh.
And I'll tell you what I think. I'm going to preface by saying I don't know anything about anything, so take that with a grain of salt. But I think because Elon was forced to buy Twitter, right? Which is its own whole thing, right? Because he was forced to buy Twitter, and Twitter isn't necessarily a profitable company. It's never been
Well, it
amazingly
profits.
profitable.
It doesn't generate a product, right? It's not.
Right.
It
It
sells
gener-
ads, and that's how
Exactly.
It sells
That's how it
ads,
does it.
but it's barely a product, right? And he may have seen the writing on the wall, and with how many people Twitter employs, which is a lot higher than average for a tech company of the size. It's like, what's the point? I think he's trying to deliberately tank the company so that he can just declare bankruptcy on it and like write it off, essentially, write off the loss of the billions of dollars.
That's not a bad call, and I think he also wants the IP. I think he wants. This is after
rebuild it up,
I
you
watched a
think?
documentary on this,
or even just the data
Yeah.
that Twitter has.
the data, the information, as well as just the platform. Right, Twitter is a brand name. I think his original goal
It's a household
was
name.
to do that and do what WeChat did for China to the American economy, which is it's essentially the combined platform for everything. It's your communication. It is your town hall that he talked about, and as well as
Payment transactions.
exactly. He owns some of the portion. I'm trying to remember exactly what portion of PayPal he owns, but I'm fairly certain he owns a lot of the like the IP on how the payment processing works for PayPal. He bought that from Jack, and I think he wants to combine those all together into Twitter, right? And so that's not. I mean, he could be. I don't know. I feel like he may have jumped the gun a little too much on that. I wish, obviously this is me telling Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, to do something, but
Yeah.
I feel like if it were me going in that situation, I would have been fairly conservative about it and gone, all right, I'm going to wait for 6 months to make any changes.
I think
Twitter's still profitable. Is it riding fine right now? Okay. Now, obviously, we also don't have access to the back end, right? He may have been like, oh, shit. They actually, like, maybe the board or something like that did. This is kind of going conspiracy, but I can see it happening.
Yep.
Is the board did some, like, shenanigans with it to, like,
Yeah.
make Twitter stock go down, right? Like, to convince different players to pull out, right?
sure.
I could see that happening, but like if the company is profitable at that moment, right, when you buy it, just leave it as is for the next 6 months, and then do what you want to do with it later down the line, and do it slowly, so it kind of just becomes part of the ecosystem rather than immediately just trying to force it onto the system. We'll see. We'll see how this thing turns out.
I just think, I mean, Elon has gotten to where he is either by being incredibly lucky or by being a good businessman, essentially.
And being smart. I think all three.
There's a combination there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
there's a
him.
combination.
Yeah.
And the stuff he's doing to Twitter makes 0 sense to make a profitable continuing company, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, he's actively putting lawsuits on him by firing people without the 60-day notice, right?
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing with Apple, like he's like imploding the entire corporation, and there has to be a reason for that.
Yeah,
you know?
you got to think you're giving him the benefit of the doubt that there's something that like the
Yeah, I am
average
getting the benefit of the doubt because it
consumer-
makes no sense. But I'm
Yeah.
assuming that he
I
knows
don't.
what he's doing.
I kind of agree. I don't think he's like straight up dumb. I think there, for whatever reason, whether it's a good or bad reason, there's like some sort of background to the actions there.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they are for sure.
And I think I will admit I am also biased because I've become very disenfranchised with Elon Musk as a whole within the last year and a half or so.
Really?
Uh-huh.
What kind of drove down that road? Because I would say I'm not positive, but like I have a mildly positive perspective of him.
Yeah.
I'm not a stand for him at all because like he's just a dude.
I mean,
but I do think
I
that
really,
he does make good things.
respect the whole pushing technology and trying to do something, right? SpaceX, great example. I mean,
Yeah.
if the government is not going to explore space, privatize
Do
it,
it. Yeah.
keep it
Do
going,
it yourself.
sure.
Yeah.
And do it more efficiently.
That's great.
That's what he's done.
But I also think there's just some blatant like touting of rules or just general things you should do. Like I have no doubt in what, again, I don't know anything about anything, putting that out there again, but I have no doubt in my mind that there's just blatant manipulation of money on cryptocurrency and like the Tesla stock prices. with him tweeting these things, which greatly affect stock price or crypto price. You know, a whole thing with Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Tesla stock. I mean, he's done it tons of times. You know.
Oh yeah, it's obvious Tesla stock is tied
obvious.
to his to his charisma. Let's just say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that whole thing, I think, is just I look at that and I think, what? I mean, it's not cool. You know, you shouldn't. There's organizations that are supposed to prevent that, and they don't work on our current, financial people anyway.
They sure as hell don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, they caught him once. The SEC got him once with the Tesla going private at 420. But I mean, did that actually hurt him?
And I think the whole Twitter
really
thing.
know.
I mean, he was tweeting about buying Twitter, which caused their stock price to jump, like or change. You know, I think. I mean, that's kind of why I just stopped being idolizing the guy. You know, like this guy's just, he's rich. He's rich for a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
several reasons.
I think personally, deep down, the guy likes attention and he likes to meme. You know,
I think so too.
I think
he has
it's
7 wives.
Yeah, I think he just thinks it's funny, and
I think he's a Redditor at heart. Honestly,
yeah. He's like I'll risk
he's the richest
tweeting
Redditor
this
out
out.
there.
Even with legal consequences, just because I think
And he
it's
has the money now
personally
to
funny.
do that, to be like, whatever.
Yeah, I think he has like literally, like, he just has a sense of humor, and he just thinks it's kind of funny to do these rash big things.
Which is not the case.
I don't know. It kind of is kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I don't know. Like, he has the power.
In one way, yeah, it's funny to be like, oh, that's kind of cool, but that's only if you don't have stock in the situation.
I mean,
and
sure,
that's whether it's financial or elsewhere.
Yeah,
you know,
if you're a regular
if you're the
person-
one that was screwed out of a bunch of money because of a tweet he made,
You get salty. You get salty,
Yeah,
but
on the flip of the coin, right? Actually, is making a lot of money, right? Think about Dogecoin. So I wish I'd gone on Dogecoin, but
I'm glad
the place I was working at before. What?
I said I'm glad I bought some Dogecoin, but I'm for the most part glad I stayed out of that whole craziness.
I met at my previous company that I worked for. I met a client. He's the CFO of the company. Dude basically made enough money off Dogecoin to retire, which he did. He made so much money off it. I was like,
I imagine someone like that would love Elon.
Yeah,
right?
but
he bought in at 4 cents and like sold at like 70.
At the same
like high
time,
it was.
that guy
Or 50,
is lucky. He's like, Dogecoin, dude, that's such a meme. That's so funny. I think it's cool. Like, I'll buy some because I have the money. And then all the Dogecoin shot up, and he got really lucky. I don't believe anyone who's like, yeah, I invested in Dogecoin because I knew that some guy was gonna drive up.
I think fundamentally, I don't think someone should have that much power over a monetary value.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Like if I knew I could tweet something and raise the value of a coin or whatever by potentially millions of dollars, that's not a good idea.
Yeah. Well,
I personally, I don't think that's a good idea.
I think the same issue pertains to FTX. Are you guys familiar with the FTX situation?
So I only knew that there was
I only know a little bit about that, actually.
There's a little bit of a lot of controversy recently about FTX. Or they went,
Yes,
did they go
I know there
bankrupt? Or like what happened to FTX?
I
don't
think
know
it was Alameda something. I forget.
FTX is a cryptocurrency exchange,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, they're the second biggest.
The
I think.
underlying is Alameda Research, I think was the name of it. Yeah, they went tits up, and Sam lost a bunch of money.
So wait, they bankrupted? The company that owned that one bankrupted?
It was like
What was the
a
story?
subsidiary. I'm talking out of my ass.
I
on
think
this
they
one.
went belly up.
Most of
I'm
my
not
information
sure.
is from WSB. Not gonna lie, which how reliable
Well,
is
that's
that?
not, you should
I mean,
not
like,
admit that your source is that.
the
You're
memes,
completely
but
discrediting
the reliable
yourself.
information. Yeah,
Dude, it's so funny that I'm
questionable.
just like talking about that shit though. I love it. It's so entertaining to just watch like the comments just devolve into absolute chaos.
I mean, that is
and
like
anarchy.
Reddit.
It doesn't devolve. It starts terrible,
Yeah.
and then
Exactly.
Street-
It starts terrible and gets even worse.
Wall Street Bets is like kind of what I love and hate simultaneously about Reddit. It's like Like the memes are
description of
great,
that.
but then the negativity is like really heavy, hardcore on there. Like
It's
people
beautiful
slamming
chaos.
each other.
It's beautiful
Yeah.
chaos. It is.
It's depressing. Is what it is.
Sometimes, I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
sometimes
like
the lost porn,
like
but you have to remember that, like, I'm the type of person who doesn't go all in on these WSB type things, right? I'm a boomer
I know
investor.
you aren't, but
Yeah.
that's not this isn't about you. This is about the whole,
The collective, yeah.
the collective, and that's just a collective that encourages terrible mindsets, you know.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Let's call them
know?
risky and over leveraged mindsets.
No, I'm calling it how it is. They're terrible. They just the worst.
I mean,
just
yeah,
possible
there's-
things
posting,
you could do.
Just
There
posting
is-
lost porn.
there are a lot of like lost porn. That is just like
Which
people-
clarify that for people who don't know what that is.
that is essentially people posting like they make a stock bet, they make a stock move, a move in some financial way,
They buy a stock or an option.
they invest
Options
a lot of money
mostly.
in it, and they just completely miss the bar. They lose thousands of dollars. They lose
They
5 to
use
6 figures.
99%.
Hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
dollars.
they
Yeah.
lose
Yeah.
99% of their value.
There are people
like
that like just lose they're like, I dumped my entire savings into this. Oh, my savings are gone the next day. It's
And
it's
it's
like
gone.
not
they,
good.
they just turned it into gambling. You know, it's just
Yeah.
a gambling addiction.
And it's like
you know?
people are
and no
feeding-
one thinks that's a good thing.
It's-
Yet everyone looks at WSB and goes, "Oh yeah, that's really funny."
Yeah, and
You
it's,
know?
it's kind of weird because it's like this is actually sad, but people
It
are
is.
Yeah.
It's
are
terrible.
being
But
like almost
here's the
positively
thing.
reinforcement of it. It's just
Yeah, that
it's
is
yucky.
that is definitely a problem. However, like it's a weird thing because you laugh at that, yet you get depressed when you like look at older people going to the casino and just like sitting at slot machines or like pachinko machines.
I just
in
told
Japan.
you how I don't laugh at it. I think it's
Okay.
terrible.
yeah. I mean that's
I'm
that's depressing.
I'm trying to say
Yeah.
that this is a terrible community and no one should go there. You know,
Yeah,
it's
You're about to feel the wrath. We're about to feel the fucking.
I don't
wrath.
care. I mean,
Yeah.
deal with the reality, people.
I mean, yeah, it's like you do what you want to do. If you think it's funny, if you want to engage in a lost porn post, you know, you do it. But I don't know. Sometimes it's just like people, like let's recognize the worth of the dollar and not throw 5 figures away just for the meme.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like
that's
the,
my personal
the YOLO
take.
though. The YOLO is just. It's definitely a generational feeling. I feel
Yeah.
like, especially the millennial and
Oh,
our
you're saying like
generation.
investing a ton of money like that and just throwing it.
Because I feel like
betting
there's
it,
this
essentially.
idea that we don't have a future, and I think that
Hmm.
that kind of depressing idea really
pretty
resonates with.
That's a
Yeah, it's very
that's,
depressing,
that's
right?
a pessimistic
But, like-
view right
but
there.
think-
yeah.
think about-
I do see what you're saying though.
Yeah, but think
You know,
about
that
how
makes more sense when you
like
in that
since like the
context.
70s, 80s, wages have stagnated. People's like standard of living actually decreased, especially in the United States, and honestly across the world in a lot of first world countries. Third world countries have still been going up, but first world countries, yeah, United States, it's actually decreased standard of living, right? Especially 2008 stuff like that. But I think it's just that mindset of, well, I don't have a future, therefore, fuck it, let's just go YOLO.
Might as well bet it all.
I don't know
Exactly.
that mindset to me, I'm speaking from a very, I don't know, from my own experiences. It's like if you have,
Limited experience.
Yeah.
in my experience, if you have 5 figures to bet, if you have 6 figures to bet, it's like, I feel like there are I mean, you won't get the immediate gratification. It's not like you're going to win the lottery here, but you can set yourself up for good things later down the line with time,
Yeah.
you know?
My thought process has always been,
Well-
I can move to a third world country and get 3 times
Honestly.
the value.
Exactly.
I'm gonna move to Thailand and just
Just
fuck
move to
around in
Thailand,
Thailand.
Just get lunch and
I
dinner
think-
for $2 a meal. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
Awesome.
I think to Colton's point though, like if you have 5 figures to bet and you're like to bet, I say you
No, to
have
bet.
5
Let's be
figures. and
real, it's
you,
to
you,
bet.
you have the option
Yeah.
to invest this, bet this, whatever, right? We're also speaking from the mindset of people who are, mentally sound, not in a sense that.
Are you
that-
sure about that?
We're not
I'm
autists.
kidding. I'm kidding.
No, and that's not, I mean, I'm trying to find the best way to phrase this. We're not necessarily, well, I guess I'm speaking for just myself.
Yes, you
easily
are.
swayed to make a risky decision, right?
Correct.
Yeah, even though
And-
I'd say you're the biggest risk taker of all of us, but
That's fair.
that's also
fair,
setting
but,
the bar
I mean,
pretty low because I'm like the least risk taker person ever.
Yeah, and we're all people that are not going to throw away money on something that we know is uncertain, right?
yeah,
But when you put someone who is less sure of that in a room with thousands of other people that are saying, "Go for it! This will work. It's going to be great."
Yeah.
Wall Street bets, they're going to make a bad decision, and they're going to lose it all. Potentially, more than likely, and that's just not a good thing.
Yeah, it's just like this weird thing where it's like people know that there's a 95% chance that they're going to be on the losing end of this wager, of this bet, of this play, whatever.
but the problem is that 5% chance they win big.
I mean,
right?
it's like
I know, and that's
gambling
why people
addiction.
still do. That's why it's self-perpetuating.
Yeah,
that's a gambling addiction.
At the very core, it is just like a gambling addiction slash, I don't know, like positive reinforcement on the meme of losing your money. I don't know. I don't mean to like, it's their money. If they're completely happy, if they don't care, that's their problem. That's great. If you wanted the Reddit gold
Yeah.
for the
I'm gonna
lost
throw this
board,
out
whatever.
there. I don't think a lot of Wall Street people on Wall Street bets who are posting lost porn are happy. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, probably
making some
not.
assumptions.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair too.
They're probably
But
not
yeah.
happy they just lost their entire life savings
Yeah.
and their house,
Yeah, but I don't know. It's
know.
I mean, it's not an easy. It's not like there's no solution to this. I think, and we kind of devolved a bit in our conversation.
Yeah. This
no,
is
no.
no
We
longer
just like
definitely
the general
evolved.
problems.
We evolved.
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 Yeah, it's a crazy world out there.
It is. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, with options trading, you can make a lot of money. But you have
There
to.
you go again. This guy's like, you
Coming
should get
back.
into options.
Coming
I tell
back.
you,
I'm not.
it's
I'm
really
not-
good if you get into options.
I'm being 100% honest. You can make a lot. I'm not going to do it
I
because I
understand.
have a low.
I know.
I have a
It
low
is
risk
possible.
tolerance.
It is
but-
possible, yet
Yeah.
you have to know a lot of information. It's not like you're
Yeah.
in Limitless and can analyze every little detail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To someone who doesn't have access or spends their entire time analyzing the stock market, it's just a bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you actually wanted to make this move and make a big play, it's like you should, bet 3 figures, bet the couple $100, and bet do the research and see how often you come out on top, and it's like eventually
Without actually doing money.
yeah. I mean, eventually, yes. I think you can get to the point where you're like, I'm able to make these plays, and statistically, with my research, I can probably make money on this. But most people don't do that. They just kind of
Do
go
I
for it
wish-
for the meme.
Do I wish I had bought a put option on Twitter the day Elon Musk walked into Twitter? 100%.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I'd be a millionaire by now.
But here's the
but-
thing: it could have also
But
went
I don't
completely
know
the wrong.
that, so there's no.
It could have went the opposite direction too. Like you
Yeah.
never know. Sometimes it's like,
That's why it's a gamble.
yeah, exactly. It's you don't know what he's gonna do. Elon Musk is kind of a wild card here, so
Yeah.
could have went skyrocketed up. Could have,
Yeah.
plummeted down.
Do
like
I
it
wish
did.
I had bought dumped all my savings into Doge? Yes, because I would have been fucking
I mean,
wealthy.
yeah. I
now.
also wish I dumped.
Yeah.
But you
I
can't
also
predict the future.
Here's
Exactly.
the thing: I wish I took out a loan when I was in college and put it all in Ethereum, and I would just be able to
that would've been
retire.
smart.
Like I could have taken out Dad, Ethereum's gonna go up to whatever it is gonna go up to. Can I just take out like 50K, and I'll make it all back. Who cares? Like I'll make 6 times that at least.
It's,
but, you know.
it's like Biff in Back to the Future, right?
Yeah.
If you guys have ever seen that, right? In the second show or second movie of Back to the Future, Biff goes back in time, says, "Hey, bet on horse races," and then he becomes
Yeah,
extremely
really rich.
wealthy.
That's
Yeah.
such a weird way. It's like, all right, so I'm gonna go back in time.
Well,
and I'm
Biff
gonna bet
was
on
an idiot.
horses instead of the stock market.
yeah,
funny.
he
Biff-
actually probably
Biff
would have
had
made
some
more
screws
on
loose.
the stock market.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw a post recently that said if you could only go back if you go back to your future self and tell them
Oh
like a
yeah.
limited piece of information, what would you tell them?
It's like you get 3 words. You have to tell your past self 3 words, and like what do you tell
Yeah, it was
them?
that, but I think one of the ones that came out of it was essentially like, and I know it's more than 3 words, but sell Bitcoin at 68,000. Like that would tell you all you need to know.
Yeah, yeah. It gives you a
Your
good.
past self to let me check out what the price of Bitcoin is. Oh, it's 3 cents.
It's
Okay.
dear. Like
I'll
okay.
wait until it's 60. And then
Yeah.
it tells them where to sell it because it doesn't tell you a date. It tells you the
Yeah.
dollar amount
Yeah.
to sell it at.
Yeah. Did I ever tell
Very
you about
smart.
my coworker who had Bitcoin?
No. It's
Do you
still
buy
too
a
early?
pizza with it or something like that?
That is a story, but that's like a classic story. No,
Okay.
friend of coworker of mine, he had, honestly a friend. Although we haven't really talked in a while, but yeah, he had 6,000 Bitcoin back in 2014,
Wow.
and he sold it to go to college. If he had
Oh, yeah.
What
if
a
he had kept
waste.
the coin,
That's
he
that's
would have had,
such-
I think the max, and this was back when we had like calculated it out.
I mean,
right? This is back in like
68,000 times
2017.
6,000.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money.
To be
it's
fair,
a lot of money.
I would never sell all of my crypto. I would always leave, 10% of it. Never know what's gonna happen. 6,000 Bitcoin. You had 60 Bitcoin right now. It's like that's still sizable. Still good amount
60
of money.
Bitcoin is insane. Yeah, he had 6,000, and you're like,
Yeah.
if he had just held on to it and not gone to college, right?
Let me.
He would have been.
Or gone to college and like took out a loan. You could have paid off the loan.
That's that is it. Yeah. But you're still you're still betting on
68,000. Wait, hold on.
68,000 times
times
6,000.
6,000. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh dear
and
God.
we discussed this when it was like
Dude, he would almost
2017.
be. It's just, that's $408 million.
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I think
Oh
Yo,
my,
we
he'd
calculated
almost
out-
be a billionaire.
Can
this
you
is-
can you even sell it? Like just Jesus.
Yeah,
That is
it's
wild.
pretty
I mean,
nuts.
that's what gets people on Wall Street bets, though. It's like I could just have $100 million.
yeah. It's
Like,
those
Jesus.
bets that you're like, oh, and that's like the 1 in a million chance, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
But that's also long term. It's not gonna.
deep fucking value, right?
Yeah, it's like not gonna happen in a year, 2 years. It's like a 10-year
I was rooting
plan.
for that guy.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
DFV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was
Him
doing
going single-handedly against every single
Yep.
person.
and the SEC
Oh
too.
my
And you're
God,
like,
that was
yes.
so funny. But
We-
I had no
we
stock
like
in
the
it.
stock.
I did not
We like
own
the
any
stock.
stock. I didn't think of taking an option. I was like, I'm just gonna watch this ride.
Oh yeah. Watch it unfold,
Here's-
and it's beautiful.
Here's the thing: if Reddit came together and was uniform on their ideas and like what they would do, I mean, they could just completely ruin the stock market. It's just like you have all these
No,
millions of
there's
people.
think
some
they did that a
really,
couple times.
There's some big players in the stock market, and unfortunately, I feel like they have the powers that be, either in their
It'll
pockets
self-correct.
or they have
Yeah.
leverage on the powers that be, and yeah, as Sean said, they'll self-correct. Yes,
Although
could they?
GameStop is a prime example of that going against their wishes.
yeah,
Correct,
yeah.
you're correct. Yeah,
That was a beautiful thing to see when it did happen. It's nice to
It was.
see it actually work out every once in a while. That is
yeah.
very nice.
It felt like the little guy won for once.
Yeah, it felt like the little, and I think a lot of like,
And some people made a lot of money.
yeah,
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, a lot of affluent people were like, go Reddit, like,
Yeah.
people like to see people. I don't know. It's a
Yeah,
it's a free
it's an
country. We
underdog
can do
story.
what we want.
I think that's the exact point that Wall Street Bets took a nosedive because that brought it to everyone's attention and grew the population even more. And
Yeah.
therefore,
I was
And now
fortunate
just-
to be on Wall Street Bets before they locked the sub because there's so much traffic
Oh, yeah.
going to it that they locked down new members. I was on it before. I was on it like when they were around 500,000, which is, obviously they're still fairly big at that point. But
that's great. I mean, and now they're more than a million, I think, right?
Yeah,
it's
they're-
crazy.
it's like
They're-
6 or something like that.
Yeah,
it's
they are-
ridiculous.
they-
Yeah, that's crazy.
really-
It's a complete just overload of information and terrible decisions now.
Terrible decision making.
I mean, it's like it's all meme bets. It's like memes.
Yeah, it's just an echo
memes,
chamber
memes.
now of all that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there was even a post recently that they're like, I did the opposite decision of everything WSB was saying, and they made money.
And they made
Like,
more,
way
yeah.
money
No.
than anybody.
That was the Michael Reeves video where
Well,
No,
he
that was where a goldfish beat WSB.
Wall Street, yes.
I'm talking about another different post.
oh
but
okay
yeah.
because that was actually great. That video was primo.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you just give a goldfish stock picks of not meme stocks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it does better than WSB.
See-
Like it's just
Yeah,
In all
and he
honesty-
he beat the market. He
In
beat
all
the
honesty,
mutual fund. He had
Michael
he had
Reeves'
8%
video,
or something like that.
yeah, Michael Reeves' video of that goldfish just gives me like hope. It's like if you feel like you can't learn to trade and maybe beat the stock market, I feel like that video should give you hope, because with the research,
just buy a goldfish.
yeah, with the research, I feel like people could do it. It just takes like effort and time, So
It's kind of crazy. I didn't want to get into the whole like stocks and finances too much. I know we want to talk about that at some
yes,
point.
yeah.
And like our own methodologies and things. I didn't really want to get into that. I kind of wanted to just talk about some of the
Craziness.
crazy things that were happening recently with like large public corporations. I think that's something I'll talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's fun. But it's always fun to like talk about Twitter and see the crazy shit that's going on. I mean, it's whether
12.7
they'll
million
come out on top or
subscribers
bottom,
on
it's
WSB.
like it's always fun.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't talk and get your point across in a room of 100 people, let alone 12 million.
Yeah.
Well, most of them are lurkers. Let's be real, but
Well, yeah, but even still, speaking of other large corporations, I just want to bag on Facebook for a minute.
Oh, I
because-
love
Please
bagging
do.
on Facebook. They have been on a down crawl here.
I think I don't know if anyone's ever worked in a corporation, all right, or a large corporation, or even a corporation where or a company that's headed by someone who has lots of money. It's amazing how quickly they become completely disillusioned with society and do not understand how things work, right? And I say this specifically about Zuckerberg because the whole joke with Facebook now is about Meta, right?
yeah, and the
Their
metaverse with that.
metaverse,
Yeah, and
which is just a complete joke.
yeah,
It
and
is.
We're,
I mean-
we're also coming from the point where we all have Oculus headsets, right? For
We
VR.
all have
we
Meta
have
headsets.
the headsets from Facebook, which I hate, by the way, because how invasive they are.
yeah.
But sponsor us. Your stuff sucks.
Yeah.
We hate you, but sponsor us.
But it's the whole meme is that Zuckerberg spent billions of dollars of Facebook's money developing this VR ecosystem that nobody uses.
Yeah.
and
Isn't it less than-
is worse than Second Life 2 from the 90s? You know,
Isn't it like less than like 100 people are ever using the Horizon
I thought
system?
what I read was less than 30.
It was like, what is their thing called? Like Second Life or
Horizons.
Horizons. Horizons.
Yeah, no one even knows. But it's exactly like Second Life, though, a game that took place.
Yeah.
They made a joke about in The Office.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like that old.
And it's basically it's VR chat but worse.
I mean, like
Yeah.
And VR chat
is
can already be
leagues.
cancerous.
VR chat is leagues above.
Oh, leagues.
I mean,
It's-
like VR
It's
chat.
amazing that you can spend that much money and come up with such a bad system
Yeah.
that no one wants to use. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how. I mean, and I'm sure the people who were making the thing didn't know what they were doing in the sense that they had zero leadership. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure there were programmers doing stuff because they were just told to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how incompetent the people in charge had to be to come up with such a dumpster fire. You know,
Yeah.
it's mind-boggling.
Yeah. Because
The-
I think their developers are really talented, and it's got to be a
Oh,
leadership.
yeah, they work for
problem.
Facebook. They kind of
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they don't have to be, but they're
Yeah.
paid enough money to be.
I would
Yeah,
think
that's
that
very
they're
true.
pretty top tier talent. So either like the passion isn't there or the leadership direction's like changing every 2 weeks. They can't
That's
get a
that's
cohesive
probably
That's
what
what I
it is.
would guess.
Or there's not a cohesive vision. That's
Yeah.
what I bet
Yeah.
is that it's like, coming from IT and working with both devs as well as on like the the technical side, right? Is you run into that quite a bit. It's like, there's no
very
cohesive
little
vision.
united front.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't have that, usually your product comes out subpar or
Looking
it's-
like Meta.
Yeah, and
right?
you know
Or
the developers
after
are
6
sitting there
months-
like
Yeah.
getting told different things every like 3 days. They're like, I cannot work with this. Like I'm
Yeah.
trying,
Yeah.
but it's not
After
working.
6 months, we have legs.
Legs.
Woo!
Yeah.
This is something VR chat basically just had by
I
default.
cannot believe some of the decisions they've done,
Yeah.
or just
Yeah, just Meta, please spend
I
less
feel like
money
we're not
and
describing it very well for people who know nothing about this. Let me do a brief recap.
Yeah,
and
sure.
fill
Yeah,
me
for
in.
sure.
But like, Facebook set out to make a universal VR platform that utilized essentially virtual real estate. So you can buy virtual real estate, set up your stuff and make a profitable VR world. Essentially, Ready Player One style, I think, is what they were trying to do. I think Mark read that book, most likely saw the movie, and thought, "Yeah, I want to make that." And then
and he failed miserably.
just failed miserably. Like it did not work. Simply put, it did not work. That's their goal, was to make this VR world that they can market, and it just did not work. And that's basically the whole story. But they spent so much money trying to make it work, and they're still trying to make it work. They're really in the sunk cost fallacy right now.
Yeah,
They're just
and
saying we
they've
spent
lost
so much money, we gotta
three-quarters
make
of their
it work.
value.
But we can't. They have to scrap the whole thing and start over if they want to
Yeah.
make it work.
Or just
It's
buy
ridiculous.
VR chat and all their talent.
I really hope they don't, because
I
then
hope so,
that
too.
game would go terribly. It would
Yeah.
just fall apart after that.
Yeah, right. I feel like that's the tradition, is like, oh, this indie company gets bought out. It's like an indie game, right? They get bought out by a big company and it just loses all soul or talent.
It happens time and time again.
Yeah. So Meta has lost like 75% of its value from the start of the year. I think they're around like.
Wait, hold on. Let me. Since I have
actually
since I'm
didn't
paying
think it
for
was-
like
I didn't think it was 75%.
a market thing. Let me
That's
figure
wild.
out what it is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how much money they've lost. And Facebook used to be like, oh, we'll just invest money in Facebook. Like Apple kind of still is. Like, hey, make better than average returns off Apple, but
That was
not
that's
financial
like
advice. But
yeah. I love
Okay, so
anecdote.
Facebook Meta
Meta.
has been climbing from, I mean, can you imagine that you're so in on an idea that you rebrand your entire company to it? Does
Yeah.
that work? So Facebook opened, I'll go through the whole history here, why not? Facebook opened at $38, $40 essentially, in, looks like May of 2012, okay?
Okay.
It peaked. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Where was the big drop? So it peaked. Not peaked, but it got its first big peak in July 18, and then its second peak was January, February of 2020, which everything dropped then, right?
Yeah.
And that peak was 227. So we went from 40 to 227 in what is that? 8 years. Okay. Since then, the last 2 years, it doubled to almost 400. And that was in September of 2021. It peaked at 385. It is now trading currently at 120. That's an insane loss. That is
It is a
about
large
70%
loss.
of its value.
Yeah, should've
This
shorted.
is the same value it was in 2016.
Ouch.
2016.
It wiped
yeah.
away
That.
Wiped away 6 years.
7, 8 years of
I
gain.
mean, they're below their, like before COVID. There's a huge up, like during COVID, and they're below that.
No,
That's-
I wish I'd done Facebook puts. That's where I'm really
Yeah.
Man,
shooting
right?
myself in the foot. Yeah.
I mean, like,
It's crazy.
I
Sometimes
honestly
what
thought
happens.
that Facebook would go up a lot with their Meta vision, even as much as I don't like Meta.
If
I
it was
actually-
done well, it would have.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
thought,
Yeah.
I
If
actually
it, honestly,
thought,
if they had anything to show for it, like they don't really have
Yeah.
anything to show for
anything
it.
at all.
yeah, I
Yeah.
thought they would though. I thought honestly in 2019, I would have thought that they would have like, you know, done really good things with it. You know, as much as like the stuff I'd have a problem with Meta, I thought they'd still like be growing, but they're really tanking here, and it's kind of like this. Kind of love to see it, but sad to see it at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind
You know
of
what's
thing.
crazy though about this whole thing, right? We've been talking about these basically 3 companies so far: Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit. Facebook and Twitter being the 2 most popular social media platforms in
On
America.
the planet. On the planet.
On the
No,
planet?
I think the ones in China are technically has more subscribers, right?
Is WeChat the social media platform in China, or what is the China social media platform?
I think it is WeChat,
I think
right?
Facebook and Twitter, even though they're like Facebook's
How
declining.
much does TikTok have?
TikTok's a different
TikTok?
animal though.
Yeah, I think
It's
TikTok.
a social media platform. That's
Yeah.
what I'm focusing on.
Technically,
I mean,
yes, but
here's
it's
the
a
thing,
different. It's not about producing, like, it's a different type of content than something like Twitter or Facebook. has
I
done.
do understand your point, but it's still a social
It's
media
still a
platform.
social
It's
media
in the same
platform.
category on the Apple Store.
So is YouTube.
Fine,
though.
fine, Sean. Shut the fuck up.
I would think YouTube would be one of the highest ones.
But
from that.
definitely the 2 most popular in America.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. Yep.
And both have lost significant value. Twitter to the point where advertised investments have pulled out of it.
Yeah. Yep. And they
Just
lose lots of money.
They don't have confidence in the platform anymore. And if Facebook tanks, I mean, I think Facebook will still continue. It's just Meta's like the metaverse that's having a problem, but Facebook is still being used.
Facebook's
But
used
that-
by old people.
That kind of just leaves Reddit right now.
Reddit is the only long-standing.
I mean, I mean, I'm out of touch, but what other social media platforms are there besides? I guess TikTok.
Insta.
you got
but Insta's
Instagram too.
Facebook.
People use
Instagram's
Instagram a lot.
Facebook. But I wouldn't say Instagram. Going back to Michael's point, it's a different type of content, right? You don't share posts and text on Instagram. You share videos. And
Yeah,
same with
and
TikTok.
pictures.
But Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter are primarily text, and then accompanied by a picture usually, right?
Yeah.
But
Whereas
it's those are the
Insta-
3 that are mainly used for getting your opinion across, as opposed to like a video, which people aren't going to spend the time
yeah,
to watch.
or like Instagram, which is about basically just flexing on other people about, hey, this is my awesome life. even
Yo,
though
look at
it's
my life,
Probably,
yeah.
it's less. Snapchat is just, I don't know. Colton,
About
you're
showing
the
the
biggest
best parts of your
Snapchat.
life.
You're the-
Snapchat is actually very, very big, but it is more synonymous to an Instagram social media type flow.
Well, I feel like it's a little bit more down to earth in some ways. I don't really use it
I
myself.
mean,
I don't do much social
Snapchat.
media.
Snapchat's getting
No.
plagued by like influencers as well. Like honestly, I get some of the most ridiculous posts on Snapchat. Like they have ads, and it's like Liver King everywhere. If you don't know Liver King, he's really funny, but it's just ridiculous stuff. It's whatever. Yeah.
I guess YouTube is the other giant social media platform, but even then, you don't usually have active discussions and dialogue on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, you have that is for the other 3. You know, I maybe that's where I'm separating it is places that have discussions and dialogue or conversations. You know,
I mean,
I don't know. Twitter conversations are conversation is a stretch. Let's be real here.
They're limited, yes, but
They
you
are
can have
text-based.
you can have a thought
Well-
and then a response to that thought,
yes, yeah.
and then a response to that one, and while
Yeah.
it's not, I mean, I remember
However
when Twitter used
toxic.
to be 128 characters.
Yeah. However
Yeah.
toxic those responses may be.
Yeah.
I'm trashing Twitter.
Yeah,
but,
text like I feel like honestly,
okay.
yeah, the text-based social media platforms, there's not been anything really new since Facebook
Yeah.
and Twitter. It's all been video-based.
Which then that makes me wonder what is
comes
going to
next?
happen next. Because
Yeah.
right now, with all the problems plaguing those other two, or the two big ones, it's prime time for someone else to say, hey, we got a new platform. It solves all the issues of the other platforms. Come and check us out. It definitely is the time for whatever that to show up.
yeah, to start popping back.
yeah.
I don't
And, like,
know though.
It's like, basically take all those ex-Twitter employees, put them into a room, and be like, hey,
Yeah.
let's build a new one, and
If
make
I
it
had a
better.
bunch of money
Exactly.
and knew some developers, that's what I would be doing
Take
right now.
advantage of it. Yeah.
Well, it's not just devs; it's like data analysts and.
I mean, it's a whole company. You need to
Yeah.
make a whole company.
Yeah.
But I think now's the time for them to do that, or whoever this mystery.
maybe not now, but definitely. Well, I don't think Twitter will go fully under. I'll probably bite my words, but
maybe
Mark,
you
you
know,
think
we'll see.
it's too big to fail? at
Two
this
months
point?
from now, let's check in again.
There's so many people who rely on Twitter almost as an income source, right? Think about artists and a lot of content creators use that to
advertise and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's an advertising platform. It's almost like
right.
in a lot of ways, YouTube Shorts is the same way.
And
It's
that's the
an
same way
advertising
we would
platform.
be. If we were on Twitter, we would be like posting jokes and advertising. It's not really for
Creating
discussion, but
controversy,
just getting us out there.
like,
yeah.
yeah. But it's interesting. I just want to like wait and see. Right. I love Sean. I think you made the best descriptor of this. Like kind of just like waiting and seeing, like watching everything unfold, watching these events unfold. Obviously, I
It's
have
just
no
going to be a
control.
wild ride.
Yeah, I
you
think
know?
so. Yeah. I mean, honestly, we should all make Twitters and just get onto this Twitter bandwagon, get verified for that $8 a month.
Now
Well,
is
we
the
can.
exact opposite time when I would join Twitter. I just do not want to contribute to that chaos.
Absolutely chaos right now.
Wait,
no
you
filtering.
don't want to be. You don't want to be renamed. Like don't want to be like the 500th Elon Musk account. That's
Yeah.
just
verified Elon Musk account.
Yeah, I think they actually did solve that, but that was hilarious.
That
in,
was
like, a
funny.
week or two.
That was
it
one of those
happened.
things where it's like, guys, you had to know this was coming.
Yeah.
How did you
Yeah.
not plan for that? Like, you had to
There-
know this was coming.
There are so many decisions. One of my biggest problems with the whole Twitter thing is it just seems like there are so many decisions made when somebody, and this happens all the time in large corporations where you have people that are afraid to say anything, right? It's
Hierarchical
the person at
corporations.
the hierarchy at the top. Someone, Elon, says, we should do this. And every single other person says, great idea, yes, instead of going, that's stupid. Right?
Yeah.
That's
like-
that's what it seems like a lot of these decisions happen, like how they happened, you know?
Yeah, like your ground floor workers, the developers are like, yeah, that ain't gonna work. They're talking like as the meeting's going on, they're like, yeah, this is a bad idea. But then the closer you are to Elon, the more hesitance you have to like speak
Yeah.
out.
Well, it's because
And
your paycheck
yeah.
relies on it, right? So
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just-
they don't want to get fired. Like there's a huge firing spree. They're like, dude, I'm gonna be a yes man here. Like hands
exactly,
up.
yeah.
Now, I think in general, all the people that were fired from Twitter are not going to have too many problems getting new jobs.
Yeah, I think they're all really talented.
Although the people that were on visas are kind of screwed.
Yeah,
and
that
sucks
sucks.
for them.
That
you know?
sucks a
That-
lot.
That
Yeah.
really sucks.
That's a whole other issue kind of thing. Yeah.
I did see, however, a conspiracy theory that Elon firing most of Twitter, right? All of these software devs, all of these software engineers, all of a sudden now have to find new jobs.
Yep.
That floods the job market with talent, which lowers the cost of hiring them, which means he can hire them at his other companies for lower prices.
What? that is
That's
a
actually
Total
a great
conspiracy theory.
Why?
It's
Yeah,
total
that's
That's
conspiracy
why.
actually
theory.
great.
That's why. That is
Yeah.
great though. I like the big conspiracy theories kind of thing. It's like
But it makes sense. Like, I mean, put on my tinfoil hat, right? Like, if
Oh, we've had our tinfoil.
we were
hats on for a
commenting
while.
earlier about how Elon is like a good businessman, right? Either
Yeah.
insanely lucky or a good businessman, right? And if he's a good
Combination of both.
businessman, then he's thinking,
he's
all
like
right,
40 chess.
I can buy Twitter, tank Twitter, bankrupt it, get bankruptcy from that, recover the loss from Twitter, all the same time hiring people for less money, saving my other company's money. I mean, it was genius.
Yeah, like hiring
really.
all the best software engineers, putting them for like the rockets and the Tesla like software
Yeah.
stuff. It's like
Think
brilliant.
about
Yeah, but they probably
Brilliant.
hate them. That's the real thing. Is like they're probably like,
Yeah, I
this
mean, yeah, but they
motherfucker
also
just
want
fired
money.
me, therefore I want to get rehired. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So
I don't know. That's why it's a whole
to be fair,
conspiracy theory. It's
some of
dumb.
those salaries those people were making, I was like, oh my.
I mean, they're
Ridiculous.
wild. They're wild. They're wild.
Yeah.
So
Like no wonder Twitter just made like broke even, right? Because everyone
Yeah.
was making so much money.
yeah,
But that is what happens when you work at one of these top 5 tech companies: Amazon, Google, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, like
You just
that's
make money.
just what happens.
the FANG
just-
companies. Yep.
To be fair, also
yeah, that's
your
exactly
your
it.
cola, or sorry, your cost of living, not your cola, your cost of living is extremely high because you're living. Oh, I'm living in San Francisco, Sacramento, somewhere in California, right? Silicon Valley.
I mean, the whole thing
I'm,
is-
I'm
is
spending
crazy,
$5,000 a month at an apartment.
Don't get me wrong; the whole thing's crazy, but I just think there's. I mean, there's so many. That's why I'm just watching the situation unfold, because there's nothing I can do, but man, I can speculate and I can derive some sort of morbid sense of entertainment out of this.
Yeah, yeah. You can. Yeah, it's a fun watch at the very least. You're just there along for the ride. You can see what happens.
Yeah.
Without any stakes in it. It's a good time. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's to Twitter.
Yeah.
And Meta.
I think
Here's to the chaos, man. I'm just gonna be a chaos
cheers
gremlin
to
and enjoy every
chaos.
moment.
Cheers.
And cheers to Almost Podcast. I think that's probably where we'll end it tonight. Along for the ride. That's our motto, right?
I am very tipsy.
So we decided that Twitter's going to implode and Colton is drunk right now.
Yeah, so follow us on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Almost, no, we don't have
Honestly,
a
we
Twitter.
should, after this podcast, meme it, get on Twitter,
Meme
start
it,
posting
yeah.
crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
I haven't checked if we have any posts on Reddit. I should probably check that.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I'm going to
I
check
don't
it
think
right
we
now.
have.
Yeah.
Any
Listen,
posts?
if you are one of our long-term listeners and you saw this, saw our previous ad, we're going to read your post right now.
Yeah.
Oh, we got nothing. Never mind.
I see you folks. Give us a good little post on our Reddit and we'll give you gold, Maybe.
Yeah,
Actually, I do have some Reddit
I mean,
gold
check
to
it
hand
out
out.
at some point, even though there's like literally nothing on that subreddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check it out at some point. Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Give us a rating, give us a subscribe. Check out Colton's short that he will eventually make a new one of.
I'm working on it, guys. I forgot all of the keybinds to DaVinci Resolve, so I'm slower than usual. Like,
Dude, I know how
honestly,
that feels. I
I
know
was
how
like
that
getting back
feels.
into it. I'm like, I have no idea how to
Colin's doing this
do
drunk.
this anymore.
Yeah. Editing's a
Dude,
bitch.
cue
ain't
me
it?
after every travel video. I'm like, oh my god, how do I make a
Like
video
it's
again?
like I have to I swear I have to do a beginner tutorial video again because I'm just like, this is not how this is supposed to be. I swear there's an easier way to do this, kind of thing. So
there was key bindings I found for Audition, and I just can't remember them anymore. That would I select a time zone, and then it cuts in and
Blocks it
makes
out.
blocks out essentially. And I totally forgot how to do that.
yeah,
But hey, live and learn.
yeah.
All right, well, this has been Almost a Podcast. One day we will get there. Thank you for listening, everybody. We will see you again next time.
Peace out, friends.
Peace.
Take it easy.